Grandmaster Damien Lemos for onlinechesslessons.net, and in this video I'm gonna analyze a game of the Alekhine Memorial between Grandmasters Liren against Levon Aronian. So let's get started. White plays d4, d5, c4, c6, and here we have the famous Slav defense. White plays knight to f3, black plays knight to f6, and white plays knight to c3. And as you know, this is the main line to fight against the Slav defense. White can also play e3, which is the other option, and this is defending the c4 pawn, but it's also leaving this bishop inside the pawn chain. White usually can fix this in the future by playing b3 or bishop b2. If he plays knight c3, the difference between this line and the line where white plays e3 is that black can now take on c4, and usually white has to play a4 here to stop b5. And here this is the main line of the Slav defense. Usually white plays like this, and well, this is a known position. I think it's playable for both sides. I'm just trying to point out the difference between playing knight c3 here and e3. If white plays e3 right here, we are stopping the d takes c4 line. Knight c3, and of course here apart from d takes c4, which is the main line of the Slav defense, black can also play e6, which is the semi-Slav defense, and he can also play a6, which is the Chebanenko variation, and it's a very popular choice as well. Black leaves this diagonal open, so he'll have the chance of developing this bishop later. And the main idea behind this move, it's of course supporting b5. White plays e3, defending the pawn on c4, and black plays e6. White plays c5. Well, this is interesting, and also you know, white can try playing c5 here too, because when black plays a6, when he plays a Chebanenko, I mean, in this setup we can already see that after a move like c5, black has some holes in his position, like the b6 square, so makes sense to play c5, because in the future we can try jumping there with our knight. So now let's go back to the game, and here we'll see that c5, yeah, first of all we are stopping bishop d6, and somehow we are looking at this hole on b6. What is more, we are winning some space at queenside. And black plays knight bd7. Well, this makes a lot of sense. b4. I know that apart from knight bd7, there's another line where black can play b6 first, and once white takes, there's no need of taking with the queen. This is bringing the queen out quickly. Black can just play knight bd7, and then he'll see whether taking with the queen or taking with the knight. And also the thing is, he can play c5 because he can take this pawn anytime. I mean, this is another possibility. This is theory as well. And what we got here is a position where we have a majority at queenside and a good center, but black has also a solid position. So this is another variation, and it's another possibility for black here. Once he plays a knight bd7, which is theory as well, white can just get a stronger position at queenside. As you can see here, white, by playing this, he's not only winning space at queenside, he's playing against this bishop on c8, which happens to be a tall pawn. And black is trying to get rid of this bishop by playing a5 and probably bishop a6 next. A3 and bishop e7. Well, makes sense. I mean, he can play bishop a6 later. I don't see any way white can stop this, and it's much better to castle first. In the opening, you have to always remember the king's safety and your development. It's much more important. So bishop d3, black castles, and white castles as well. I have to say that if white tries to play an in-between move like queen e2, which is trying to stop bishop a6, well, black should have some options here, but there is a very similar line where, I mean, compared to this position where black tries playing this, and eventually he plays bishop a6 anyway. So I guess that castling it's better. If black wants to trade off the bishops, he's gonna do it anyway. So bishop a6, and I think here comes the great move by white in this game. It's knight to e1, and it's great because the knight on d3 is gonna be doing a good job. I mean, it's gonna be supporting b4 and c5, and from d3 we are also stopping the e5 push by black. So that is why I like this knight e1 move. We can also consider playing b5 here, and once black takes, playing something like c6 looks like a good idea. I mean, looks like we get a pass pawn, but I don't see how can we support this pawn more. Well, actually we can, but I'm not so sure about this. I mean, this is interesting. Maybe we can support this pawn on c6, but it's also true that black is gonna have an extra pawn. I mean, it's not that clear to me. So I know the idea is possible in this kind of positions, but as white maybe we can get an advantage without taking too many risks. As you can see in this game, white is gonna win because he has a big space advantage. And yeah, black plays bishop c4. Well, of course, if Aronian plays this, it's at least interesting. Although, I mean, yeah, what happens if black takes? I mean, knight takes. I know maybe this is not the greatest position in the world for black, but There are a lot of examples like this where black holds and gets equality. Again, white is always gonna be better because we have the opening advantage, but if we play solid as black, like Queen C7 and Queen B7, supporting the A8 square and then trying to trade off rooks here, I think our position is solid enough to hold. I don't see any big weaknesses in black's position. I guess this bishop c4, it's more ambitious, as you can see. White decides to take, and now Queen E2 attacking this pawn on c4, and black plays Rook B8, which is an interesting way of leaving the pressure there. What I'm trying to say is, if he plays something like b5, then he's closing the action here. I mean, there's no chance of taking on c5 anymore, and then we can play quietly as white, because there are no targets. I mean, everything is protected. When he plays Rook B8, it's like black still has the door open. I mean, he can still take on b4 or on c5. I mean, if we take, this is quite risky. We are just opening the entire position, and our development is not that great, especially because we have that knight there on e1, which is not doing much. So white plays Rook A2, which is a deep move, right? Because Rook here looks nonsense, but it's actually supporting this bishop. That means Queen takes c4, it's gonna be a threat. So here black has to play b5. White plays e4, and as we can see here, this position, I mean, it's not a common position. We won't see a position like this often, but I like white's possibilities, mainly because I think our center is much better. And we'll play e5 probably. He'll have the d5 square, but the hole we're gonna create on d6 is gonna be quite important. And on the other hand, the pass pawn black has here, it's great, but we're blockading this successfully. There are a lot of pieces on board. The c4 pawn would be strong if we are playing an endgame, but right now a lot of pieces on board. So Rook b7, knight to c2, and knight to b8. As we can see, black is lacking some space. Maybe this bishop c4, I'm not sure, but maybe it wasn't the best idea. I mean, because the center we have here, it's pretty important. And this Rook a1, it's okay, because the Rook, it's not doing much on a2. When we played Rook a2, we wanted to defend our bishop, and now we just want to go back home. I mean, placing our rooks in the center. And after that, we'll have to improve our bishop on b2 as well, because right now our bishop b2, it's working like a tall pawn. It's crashing into our pieces. Well, what we see here is a couple of moves, and black is also trying to finish his development. As we said, now the rook is into the game. The bishop is also placed in a better diagonal, so this makes a lot of sense. Knight to a6. We'll have to be careful with b4, but right now it's fully protected. Bishop to f4, rook d7, and h3. See how white plays this useful move before advancing, before doing any, before looking for any action, he plays h3, so he makes sure we have an escaping square for our king in the future. Knight to e8, queen e3, bishop to f6, and e5. Looks like when black plays bishop f6, he wants to see e5. But I like e5 anyway. Despite the fact we are closing this bishop's diagonal, this hole is gonna be important, and we are blockading the D file successfully. As we can see here, knight d6, there's just no way to stop this. And at least black gets another hole on d5. But yeah, if we compare this hole with d5, yeah, we can tell at d6 it's much more important. And black plays this. And obviously we'll have to leave that knight there. We'll wait till black takes. Because yeah, if we take, we are just doing him a favor, right? I mean, now there's no hole for us, and he's gonna champ here. So we'll just leave the knight there. Queen c3. This is a very aggressive option. Probably we can consider bishop c5 as well, because this bishop is defending. Knight e3. And knight c3. Well, yeah, here, you know, when white played knight e3, I guess he calculated everything, because this knight c3 is tricky. I mean, we are not controlling the c3 square, and well, he's got some threats, as you can see. He's attacking the rook, and he's also threatening knight e2 check. Then he's taking our queen. So we play rook d e1, and here black found a way to get this change. As you can see, he's attacking the queen, and he's gonna play knight d2, which is attacking the rook, and our rook on f1 won't be able to run away. But here comes a strong move, and well, I'm not sure, but I mean, this move, it's easy to miss. I mean, knight d5, very strong move. The knight is entering black's position, and if he takes on d5, we're gonna just take this knight on d2. We have very nice pass pawn here, plus this knight on e8, which is not helping at all. His pieces are all frozen. I mean, we have like a decisive advantage here. And if he takes on f1, we just have knight b6, again very strong in between move, attacking the queen and the rook. We can take care of knight f1 later. And as you can see here, this change, black can't run away, because we just take the rook. If he moves this rook, we can always take this one too. But you know, as this position is closed, the rooks cannot play, so I'm not worried about this change here as white. In fact, white keeps improving his position. We can just take care of this change later. And black decides to defend actively here. And this move is the one we should explain, I think, because see, we are talking about a closed position, and the rooks, they are not working in this closed position. If we take the rook, then he's gonna just take back, and in this closed position, this knight on d5, it's blockading successfully. Knights are usually great in closed positions. And here it's not clear at all, and this pass pawn, it's gonna be dangerous. By taking this knight, it's quite different. maybe we are not winning material as white, but we are getting rid of one of his most active pieces. And as we said, in close positions, the rooks are not playing much because they don't have open files. And this is great as well. This is making sure we destroy black's defenses here. If we played something like this, he can probably try f6. Okay, he's sacrificing a pawn, but then he makes sure, you know, the queen and the rook, they are gonna be helping for sure. So by playing bishop takes c7, as the king is too lonely and the queen is too far away from defense, this is gonna be quite simple. Now with red mate, I think the same goes when he plays this. We can just check him once, then we can just try mating him like white did in this game by playing rook e1, rook e3 or rook e5, and then checkmate him on the she file. But here he plays this, and queen f6, we want to mate him again. Only move is king c8. Well, here white gives a check again. Well, he's repeating moves, but twice, not 3 times in a row. And now after rook e1, again we have to point out that the rooks cannot come help. Rook e8 is not possible. This rook on d7 cannot move either. So he takes on b4 and rook e5. Again, this is coming. We want to mate him in 2 moves. h6 looks like the only way. This is a deviation, as you can see. And rook h5. Again, I think it's quite clear. If we take here, looks like we are winning, but you know, he can just move the f pawn somewhere, and then he's got an extra rook, and suddenly all his pieces are defending. So that is why I guess white played rook h5. So this 7th rank, it's still closed. Queen takes a3, and here queen takes h6. Very important, because we are controlling the c1 square. If we took with the rook, then queen c1 check, and queen takes h6, and then the game is far from clear. In fact, I think we'll have to be quite careful because black has a lot of passed pawns there at queenside. So queen takes h6, it's the only move, and again with red mate. Here f6, queen takes f6. Again, I think it's doing it. If he plays rook c7 to stop rook h8, then this rook is falling, and with this the game is over. In fact, after queen f6, black resigns. There's no way he can stop the mate. He can try playing queen c1 for instance, but then king h2 followed by rook h8 again. If he plays rook c7, which looks like the only way, then we can just check, and as we can see, we are gonna mate him soon here. There's no sense in continuing playing here. We can promote, we can check him. So what we see here is yeah, after f6, well, we had to be careful because queen h8 looks like winning, but it's not that clear. I mean, if rook h7, we can probably lose this to king e6, and the queen is trapped. We have to probably come back here and then try to figure out another mate. But queen takes f6, it's much better. After this, black resigns. So a very nice performance by white. I hope you enjoyed this game, and I'll see you in future videos. Thank you.